Mark Carney just put the Pentagon on notice. Canada is reconsidering its multi-billion-dollar commitment to American F-35 fighter jets. The leading replacement candidate is Sweden's Gripen. And the reason comes down to something the United States defense establishment cannot answer. Why does Sweden's fighter engine have 300,000 flight hours with 0 engine-related accidents, while America's F-135 delivered 123 engines in 2024, and every single one arrived late? Volvo RM12 engines powering Gripen C and D, GEF 414 engines powering Gripen E, highway strip operations capability, field maintenance by technicians with basic training, 100% renewable biofuel compatibility demonstrated in 2017, preventive maintenance philosophy preventing catastrophic failure before it happens, and combat validation happening right now in Ukraine where pilots trust their lives to engines that work. Carney's defense review didn't start because Sweden pitched harder. It started because the Pentagon's F-35 program keeps breaking promises while charging premium prices. All 123 F-135 engines delivered in 2024 arrived an average of 238 days late. That's nearly 8 months per engine. Fighters sat unfinished on assembly lines in Fort Worth, Texas, and Pratt Whitney still collected performance incentive bonuses for missing deadlines. The Government Accountability Office called it out directly, urging the Pentagon to stop paying rewards for failure. Those payments continue anyway. This isn't theory. The United States Air Force cut its 2026 F-35 purchase from 48 jets to 24. Fewer jets that actually work beat more jets waiting for upgrades that may never arrive. Block 4 modernization packages promised for 2026 now target 2029. Cost estimates jumped from $10.6 billion to $16.5 billion. That's a $6 billion increase and a 3-year delay for an upgrade to an engine already failing to deliver on time. And even that 2029 timeline remains uncertain. Today, we're showing you how Carney's defense review exposes the F-35 engine crisis the Pentagon doesn't want discussed. How Sweden built fighter engines around operational reliability, while America built them around contract incentives. How Ukraine's combat experience validates what Saab promised and reveals what Lockheed Martin cannot deliver. And why Canada choosing Gripen over F-35 represents a permanent shift away from depending on United States defense contractors who prioritize bonuses over battlefield readiness. But before we dive into this story, if you appreciate in-depth analysis like this, hit that like button and subscribe to stay informed on the stories that truly matter. Let's start with what the Pentagon actually delivered. Pratt Whitney's F-135 engine powers every F-35 fighter. There is no alternative, no backup power plant, no second source. In 2024, Pratt delivered 123 engines. Every single one arrived late. Not most, not nearly all of them. The average delay was 238 days. Some engines missed deadlines by over 300 days. Jets waiting for those engines sat incomplete while production schedules collapsed. The Government Accountability Office documented this in forensic detail. Supply chain issues, workforce shortages, production bottlenecks, none of that changes the outcome. The Pentagon kept paying performance incentive fees anyway. The contract structure allows Pratt & Whitney to collect bonuses even when engines arrive up to 60 days overdue, miss deadlines by 2 months, and still get rewarded for on-time delivery. The GAO urged the Defense Department to stop reinforcing failure through incentives. That recommendation was ignored. Carney's response wasn't to complain about American contractors, it was to open Canada's fighter competition to alternatives that actually work. The defense review explicitly put Sweden's Gripen on the evaluation list alongside the F-35. The core criteria are operational reliability, life cycle costs, maintenance requirements, and proven combat performance. Canada's defense procurement doesn't need stealth marketing promises. It needs jets that fly when called upon and engines that don't ground entire fleets waiting for parts that arrive 8 months late. But Carney didn't stop there. The review includes examining total ownership costs over 30 years, the F-35 program projects per aircraft costs exceeding $150 million when development, production, and sustainment and sustainment get factored in. Gripen E costs roughly half that. Maintenance philosophy matters too. The F-35 requires centralized depot-level facilities for major engine work. Gripen was designed for highway strip operations where ground crews with basic training perform routine servicing in austere field conditions. That difference becomes critical when supply chains get disrupted, or when Canada's Arctic bases operate in extreme conditions, far from Pentagon-approved maintenance hubs. The Canadian Air Force operates in one of the world's most demanding environments. Arctic patrols in sub-zero temperatures, NORAD missions requiring rapid scramble capability, long-range intercepts over vast distances where engine reliability means the difference between mission success and catastrophic failure. The single-engine fighter needs absolute confidence in that engine. Lose power over the Arctic Ocean and there's no ejection-friendly landing zone. The pilot depends entirely on the engine working when it matters most. Here's the mathematical result. Sweden's RM-12 engine, 300,000 flight hours, 0 engine-caused accidents. Pratt Whitney's F-135 engine, 100% late delivery rate in 2024, billions in cost overruns, uncertain Block 4 upgrade timeline. Canada needs 88 fighter jets to replace its aging CF-18 fleet. Multiply 88 jets by 30 years of operations. That's millions of flight hours where engine reliability determines whether pilots come home. The F-35's engine crisis hurt American readiness, but Canada is being protected from that failure by evaluating proven alternatives, while the Pentagon struggles with contractors it cannot hold accountable. Here's where it gets fascinating. The RM-12 engine powering Gripen C and D began life as a General Electric F-404, originally designed for twin-engine aircraft like the F-18 Hornet. Lose one engine on a Hornet and there's still another keeping the jet airborne. Gripen didn't have that luxury. Saab needed a version optimized for single-engine operations, where catastrophic failure means the pilot ejects or worse. So Volvo Aero, now part of GKN Aerospace, redesigned the platform from the inside out. Thrust increased from 71 kilonewtons to 80. Resistance to high angles of attack and side slip improved. Weight came down. Systems were simplified. Field maintenance became a design priority. The result speaks for itself. 300,000 flight hours without a single engine-caused accident. But the success didn't come from design alone. It came from how the engine is maintained. When RM-12 engines arrive at GKN's Trollhättan facility for servicing, technicians inspect the entire power plant. They don't repair one failed module and send it back out the door. They look for early warning signs, address issues operators haven't detected yet, and prevent small problems from turning into major failures. Preventive maintenance, not reactive fixes, became the foundation of the program. That philosophy is why catastrophic failure never entered the RM-12's history. Robert Johansson of GKN Aerospace called it truly unique, a major achievement for Volvo Aero. This creates a fascinating dynamic. Swedish fighter operations accept higher upfront investment in preventive maintenance, because the alternative is grounding jets when engines fail unexpectedly. Canada's Arctic operations make that philosophy even more critical. Better to pay for scheduled maintenance in controlled facilities than risk engine failure over the Beaufort Sea, where rescue is measured in hours, not minutes. Meanwhile, Pratt Whitney faces a completely different situation. The F-135 only powers one aircraft, the F-35. No alternate platforms, no secondary markets, no fallback applications. If the F-135 struggles, the entire F-35 program struggles with it. And right now, the F-135 is drowning in delays. The engine core upgrade, meant to provide additional power and cooling for Block 4 capabilities, was originally scheduled for 2026 at $10.6 billion. That estimate now stands at $16.5 billion, with readiness pushed to 2029. That's a $6 billion increase in a 3-year delay, all for an upgrade to an engine already slowing production. Even that timeline remains uncertain. At the Paris Air Show in June 2025, Pratt's president of military engines, Jill Albertelli, declined to confirm whether engines would be ready by 2029, stating only that timelines were still being worked with the Joint Program Office. Critical design review, once planned for mid-2025, slipped to mid-2026. That milestone only closes the design phase. Manufacturing, testing, and fleet integration still come afterward. Block 4 aircraft continue rolling off production lines incomplete, waiting for retrofits that may not arrive for years. The Pentagon keeps claiming American industry can meet demand. They're lying. Or they're ignorant of their own contractors' capacity constraints. The F-35 program needs reliable engines delivering on schedule to maintain production rates. Pratt delivered 0 engines on time in 2024. 0. The math doesn't work when every single power plant arrives 8 months late. and the Pentagon keeps paying bonuses for that failure. Those supply chains are broken, and the engine core upgrade delays prove the problems are getting worse, not better. While Canada evaluates proven alternatives, Ukraine is providing the combat validation the Pentagon never wanted published. Ukrainian F-16S, powered by either Pratt F-100 or GEF-110 engines depending on variant, have flown over 1,300 interception sorties, carried out roughly 300 ground strikes, and supported nearly 80% of Ukrainian Air Force missions. Aircraft losses have occurred, but none were attributed to engine failure. Pilots trust their power plants. Missions get completed. Now Ukraine is evaluating Gripen, and one of the standout factors for Ukrainian pilots has been engine reliability. 300,000 hours without catastrophic failure matters when operating under missile threat from Russian air defenses. The newer Gripen E uses the GEF-414 engine. Thrust jumps 25% compared to the RM-12. Afterburner output reaches 98 kilonewtons versus 80. That extra power allows Gripen E to supercruise, flying faster than Mach 1 without engaging fuel-hungry afterburners. Three-dimensional aerodynamics improve airflow, a stronger high-pressure turbine boosts durability. Advanced cooling systems manage higher thermal loads. Airflow increases 16% over the original F404. This is combat-proven architecture scaled for modern operations. And the maintenance philosophy remains identical. Field servicing by crews with basic training. Major overhauls at centralized facilities. Preventive inspection preventing catastrophic failure. The human cost of the F-35's engine crisis falls entirely on American taxpayers and allied air forces that bet on Pentagon promises. The United States Air Force needs 1,763 F-35A fighters. Current inventory sits below 500. Production rates were supposed to ramp up to 156 jets annually. Instead, production is slowing. The Air Force cut its 2026 purchase from 48 to 24 aircraft. Why? Because funding priorities shifted towards sustainment and modernization instead of buying incomplete jets. Translation: the engines aren't ready. Block 4 upgrades aren't ready. Fewer jets that actually work beat more jets waiting for retrofits. International partners are watching closely. Countries that committed billions based on promised capabilities now face indefinite delays. Block 4 upgrades may not arrive until the mid-2000s and 30s. Engine improvements remain uncertain. Every setback chips away at confidence. Australia bought 72 F-35s. Japan bought 147. The United Kingdom bought 138. Norway, Italy, the Netherlands, Denmark, all committed to F-35 fleets. And all of them now face the same engine delivery delays, the same cost overruns, the same uncertain upgrade timelines. Canada, meanwhile, hasn't locked itself into that failure. The CF-18 replacement competition remains open. Gripen is under evaluation, and the evaluation criteria prioritize what the F-35 cannot deliver. Engines that arrive on time, life cycle costs that don't explode, maintenance requirements that don't demand Pentagon-scale infrastructure, and combat validation from pilots who actually fly the jets in hostile environments. Sweden's Saab didn't promise stealth invisibility and network-centric dominance. They promised reliable engines and field-maintainable fighters. Ukraine's experience is proving they delivered on that promise. While American F-35 operators struggle with availability rates below 40% for the A variant and below 20% for the B and C variants, Swedish Gripen operators report mission-capable rates exceeding 70%. The difference isn't stealth coatings or sensor fusion. It's engines that work when called upon in maintenance philosophies designed around operational reality instead of contractor profit incentives. The endgame is clear. That's for the F-35's engine crisis doesn't get fixed, it gets worse. Pratt Whitney's engine core upgrade timeline keeps slipping, costs keep rising, $16.5 billion becomes $20 billion, then $25 billion. Readiness targets shift from 2029 to 2032, then beyond. Because the company cannot deliver engines on time at current requirements, and future requirements demand even more power, more cooling, more capability that the F-135 architecture was never designed to provide. The Pentagon built an advanced fighter around a conservative engine. That mismatch is permanent. F-35 production rates won't recover. They'll decline further. The United States Air Force will keep cutting annual purchases because buying incomplete jets makes no strategic sense. Allies will reconsider their commitments as delays compound and costs explode. Some will stick with F-35 because sunk costs and political relationships leave no alternative. Others will do what Canada is doing, evaluate proven alternatives that prioritize operational reliability over marketing promises. The social and strategic cascade is already visible. American air dominance erodes not because adversaries fielded better fighters, but because America cannot field the fighters it promised itself. Training hours decline when jets sit grounded, waiting for engine parts. Pilot proficiency suffers. Squadron readiness drops. Combat capability degrades. And taxpayers keep funding performance bonuses to contractors who deliver failure 8 months late. The cultural expectation that American defense contractors deliver world-leading capability reverses. Partners stop trusting Pentagon timelines. Allies diversify their procurement to reduce dependence on suppliers who cannot meet commitments. Canada, meanwhile, builds an air force that serves sovereignty requirements first, NATO commitments second, and views the United States defense industrial base as an unreliable supplier that weaponizes dependency through contract structures designed to extract bonuses regardless of performance. If Carney's defense review selects Gripen over F-35, that decision is permanent. Buy Canada policies extend to defense procurement. Federal investment in building Swedish-designed fighters under license in Canadian facilities. Training programs adapted to engines that actually work. Maintenance infrastructure built around preventive care instead of reactive crisis management. And long-term relationships with European defense partners who deliver on promises. Sweden's Saab doesn't operate at Pentagon scale. They can't outspend Lockheed Martin on lobbying, but they built fighter engines with 300,000 hours and 0 catastrophic failures. They demonstrated 100% renewable biofuel operation in production engines. They designed maintenance procedures that allow highway strip operations by crews with basic training. They validated their systems in Ukraine's combat environment, where pilots stake their lives on reliability. That's not marketing. That's engineering reality. Carney's defense review isn't just evaluating fighter jets. It's restructuring Canadian air power for a post-American dependency model. And that restructuring is permanent. Defense procurement policies don't sunset. Multi-decade fighter programs don't get reversed. Infrastructure investments don't expire. Training pipelines don't pivot back. The supply chains Canada builds with Sweden will last 40 years, not 4. The operational philosophies Canada adopts, preventive maintenance, field serviceability, proven reliability, become institutional knowledge that shapes procurement decisions for generations. The Pentagon thought it controlled Allied fighter procurement through F-35 program scales and sunk cost dynamics. It permanently lost that control. Canada paid no short-term cost for keeping competition open, but long-term benefit is strategic independence from contractors who cannot deliver on time and engines that ground fleets while bonuses keep flowing. America paid no short-term cost for rewarding contractor failure, but long-term cost is eroding air superiority, declining ally confidence, and losing the Canadian fighter competition to Sweden because Pratt Whitney delivered 123 engines late, and the Pentagon kept paying them anyway. Canada wins. The Pentagon loses, and 300,000 flight hours with 0 failures beat every promise Lockheed Martin ever made.